And we're there the whole process of this? Okay. Yeah. Oh, is it gonna be on?
Yep.
Or no, you're not on yet though,
Oh,
right?
yeah, we flipped that switch on.
What about these two?
Yeah. We do OTTN, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, he was killed on the 23rd, 29th. Good morning, everybody. My name is Lana Harris. This is the First Alert Desk here at Atlanta News First. It's a somber day for our community because today is the day that we remember the life of a fallen deputy in our area. This is the Spalding County Sergeant Marc McIntyre, who was killed in the line of duty last Friday. You're looking at his procession right now. They are leaving from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. This was scheduled to leave at 11:30. They are promptly doing it right now, and they are headed to Griffin First Assembly of God for memorial services. Now, Sergeant Marc McIntyre was a 12-year veteran of the Sheriff's Office. He was shot and killed while responding to a domestic call in Spalding County just days before the New Year on December 29th. So this was just a shocking situation to happen. You can see just how many law enforcement professionals have shown up for him. There are hundreds of cars out there and people out there as well, just lining up however they can to pay respects. We've seen people kind of just standing outside on the road so they can watch this happen and honor him and give him the recognition he deserves for losing his life while trying to protect our community. Now, visitation was at 10:30 this morning and is continuing until the time of the service. Again, the memorial services will be at 1 o'clock at Griffin First Assembly of God. It is open to the public. So the family has requested no graveside service, but attendees who are going to be going to the memorial services today will be able to see the whole thing, and they'll be dismissed from the church after honors are bestowed and the final call. Now, we have several shots for you to show you exactly what happens with this processional. We are here on the ground. We're also live in the air. We have Atlanta News First Chopper showing you a broader look at the procession and the people who are standing out there paying respects. You can see a woman there standing with the American flag. Looks like her own personal car out there, just wanted to stand there and do what she could. This Spalding County community has really been stepping up for Sergeant McIntyre and his family. People have been putting together ways to donate. Several downtown businesses in Griffin there are rallying and doing what they can. In fact, Downtown Nutrition is selling a special police tea right now. $2 of every sale goes to Sergeant McIntyre's family for the next several weeks. And the response apparently has just been overwhelming. They've been selling out those teas and they've been getting donations, hundreds of dollars, because this has really rocked the entire community there in Spalding County. And we talked to a business owner, in fact, who said that it is great to see everybody rallying together in support because they can't imagine how the family is feeling. The new year was about to start when he lost his life. He would have just celebrated Christmas or whatever holiday he may celebrate with his family in the days right before he lost his life. So this is definitely warranted here for Sergeant Marc McIntyre. And then here he is on your screen there on the left, a photo of him. Again, 12-year veteran there with the Spalding County Sheriff's Department. And we want to get to you a bit of information about how this happened in case you hadn't heard. So early Friday morning, December 29th, Sergeant McIntyre was responding to a domestic call in northern Spalding County. It was on Deason Street. A neighbor we talked to who didn't want to be identified told Atlanta News First a woman who lived in the home with the suspect ran to the neighbor's house to call 911 after there was a dispute. Well, investigators say when deputies got there, the suspect fired out of the window with a shotgun, and sadly, Sergeant McIntyre was hit. He was rushed to the hospital. Everybody was hoping he was going to make it, but sadly, he did lose his life there in the hospital. Now, that shooting led to an hours-long standoff with a suspected gunman who has now been identified as Todd Lamont Harper, and law enforcement had to use equipment to tear down part of the house to get to Harper, and he was booked into Spalding County Jail. In fact, Spalding County Sheriff Daryl Dix was adamant that he be in Spalding County Jail. The sheriff said, and I quote, "He is currently in custody in my jail where he will stay. I'm not going to send him to another sheriff's jail. He killed my deputy. He's going to sit in my jail." Again, those are words from Sheriff Daryl Dix as we take a live look at the procession for Sergeant Marc McIntyre. Again, so many cars, hundreds of cars wrapping around the Atlanta Motor Speedway right now, heading down the street during this procession here. And this is the look from Atlanta News First Chopper here. So we have seen so many people speaking out, offering their condolences, including the governor. In the wake of Sergeant McIntyre's death, Governor Brian Kemp asked for Georgia citizens to pray for the deputies' loved ones. He also said in a tweet, "Marty," who's his wife, of course, "Marty, the girls, and I ask that all Georgians join us in praying for the loved ones of this fallen hero." Deputy Sergeant Marc McIntyre, he says, "Our thoughts will remain with his family and fellow law enforcement officers following this tragedy." In a Facebook post, Spalding County State Court Judge Josh Thacker said, "Friday was an unspeakably sad day in the county." He wrote, "Sergeant McIntyre was a military veteran, a leader in the Spalding County Sheriff's Office, and a mentor to the next generation of law enforcement officers." He wrote, "I am saddened beyond words that we will need to add another name to the SO's End of Watch monument so quickly after adding Jamie Reynolds." Deputy Reynolds died in 2022. Fulton County Sheriff's Office, Spalding County Sheriff's Office, Jackson County, Banks County, Henry County, they're all just a few departments who offer their condolences and prayers, acknowledging this is a tough situation for the entire Spalding County Sheriff's Department. We all know that deputies and officers have a hard job, have a dangerous job, but they all expect to come home. Sheriff Dix said that he was an Army veteran who had served in Iraq and had been with the department for more than a decade, again, 12 years, and that's been one of the hardest pills to swallow here. Sheriff Dix noted that McIntyre was a combat veteran that came home to serve his community, to make the community safer, and ended up losing his life. Sheriff Dix said it was stunning. So, again, that's what brings us to here today, January 5th, this procession leaving Atlanta Motor Speedway right now and heading to the memorial services. Again, those memorial services are open to the public if you would like to go. It starts at 1 o'clock at Griffin First Assembly of God. We've got a photo of Sergeant Marc McIntyre up on your screen right now. Again, shot and killed, responding to a domestic call in Spalding County days before the new year, December 29th, 2023. So again, there's going to be no graveside service. That was at the family's request. But again, you can go if you would like to. It is open to the public. It is at 1 o'clock, and you'll just be dismissed from the church after honors are bestowed and the final call. So we're roving through these cameras here because a lot of people may not be able to get to this procession. They may not be able to get to the services. But so many people have been wanting to do something to honor Sergeant McIntyre here and help his family out, because this has just been a tough time and a really unfortunate incident. Again, what happened to Sergeant McIntyre was he was responding to a domestic call when the suspect reportedly fired out of the window and McIntyre was hit. So it wasn't a hand-on-hand, a combat situation. It sounds like a truly unfortunate situation. And of course, he would have been around his brothers in blue there, responding to that domestic incident, all of which must have been horrified seeing what happened to their fellow deputy. Now, this is a shot of Atlanta News First Chopper, and it gives you a better look at just how many cars are in this procession and just how long it is. So we've got two shots for you here up on the screen. The left side is our ground shot at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Right side, you can see Atlanta News First Chopper. We want to take you there in case you're not able to get onto the street or get out to the memorial services and you just want to pay your respects. So we'll leave you with a shot for just a moment. Again, it's January 5th, Friday, the day of memorial services for the Spalding County deputy who was killed in the line of duty. That is what you're looking at your screen right now. And you can see just how many cars are in this procession. They are still pulling out of Atlanta Motor Speedway, and they've been at it for the past 12 or so minutes, leaving and joining this procession here. So we've seen police cars, sheriff's deputies' cars, SWAT vehicles, EMS vehicles. You can tell this is a brotherhood, and law enforcement look out for each other in a way because they do have such a dangerous job that, not everybody is called to do. And again, everybody believes they're going to make it home at the end of each shift. So the fact that that didn't happen for Sergeant Marc McIntyre is the reason why they're all out there. They know how tough this has to be for his family. Imagine your job. You imagine going home at the end of every night. So do they. But they just have a much tougher job and a much tougher time having that happen. So we want to continue showing you this in case you are not able to get to the procession yourself or get to the memorial yourselves. I want to run through a bit about today. Visitation is at 10:30, and that is going to continue until the time of the service. The services begin at 1 p.m., and they'll be at the Griffin First Assembly of God. That is open to the public if you'd like to go and pay your respects. And the law enforcement processional that you're seeing here just got underway about 13 minutes ago. They started leaving around 11:30. Now the family has requested no graveside service, so you will not see that, but you will be able to go to it, and you'll be dismissed from the church after honors are bestowed and the final call. Now, businesses have really been rallying around Sergeant McIntyre and his family, specifically in downtown Griffin. Such a tight community there, and the community was truly horrified hearing what had happened to someone who is just trying to serve and protect them. So Downtown Nutrition is just one place we stop by. They're selling a special police tea right now. $2 of every sale goes to McIntyre's family for the next several weeks. They've been selling out those teas a lot since that special had been announced because people really feel compelled to do something. And that doesn't even include the donations, several hundreds of dollars in donations already at the last time we had talked to them a bit ago. And because they say this tragedy has just rocked their community, he says having everybody rallying together in support feels good because they can't imagine how Sergeant McIntyre's family is feeling, but they just hope that the fact that people are trying to donate and do what they can gives them a little bit of comfort that he was loved and he was appreciated. And that fundraiser that we're talking about here at Downtown Nutrition will run until January 13th. So if you want to stop by, it's a good way to donate. And we're told all of the donations will go directly to the sheriff's office, who's creating a donation account for Sergeant McIntyre's family. They want to make sure that everything's above board and your money is going to where you believe it's going to go to. But we want to get into a bit about what happened to Sergeant Marc McIntyre in case you hadn't heard. Again, he had been with the department for 12 years. And then early Friday morning on December 29th, he was shot while responding to a domestic call in northern Spalding County. Happened on Decent Street. So, of course, Atlanta News First went out there to do some digging, and we talked to a neighbor. That neighbor did not want to be identified, but they told us there's a woman who lived in the home with the suspect who ran to the neighbor's house to call 911 after there was a dispute. Well, investigators told us when deputies got there, the suspect just fired a shot out of the window with a shotgun, and Sergeant McIntyre was hit. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. Now, that shooting led to an hours-long standoff with the suspected gunman, who's been identified as Todd Lamont Harper. Law enforcement actually used equipment to tear down part of the house to get to Harper, and he was booked into the Spalding County Jail. So he is off of the street, and Spalding County Sheriff Daryl Dix was very adamant that this suspect, Todd Lamont Harper, stay in the Spalding County Jail. He said, he's currently in my jail. He's going to stay there. I'm not going to send him to another sheriff's jail. He killed my deputy. He's going to sit in my jail. Again, those are the words from Sheriff Daryl Dix. Now, on your screen here, you are seeing Atlanta News First chopper giving you an aerial view of the procession right now, and you can see people have pulled off to the side and they're hanging American flags. We've seen people along the route, in fact, standing there with their own personal cars or standing maybe as if they walked. Some are holding American flags, some are just standing there paying respects. It's been a pretty beautiful moment to see that people are paying respects and appreciating the sacrifice that Sergeant Marc McIntyre made for our community. Now, on the left there, you see the ground view that we have, where just law enforcement car after law enforcement car are driving down this procession route. Now, it's stretching on for miles. There are hundreds, I would imagine, cars, law enforcement vehicles involved in this procession, from SWAT cars to EMS vehicles to fire trucks, police cars, sheriff's cars, all around the state. People all around the state have come to join in this procession. And we wanted to make sure that you could be there in case you couldn't actually get out of work or get out of home or get away from whatever you're doing today. We wanted to make sure you had the opportunity to stop and just see how people are honoring Sergeant Marc McIntyre. Now, the procession of law enforcement vehicles escorted Sergeant McIntyre's body from the hospital to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation Crime Lab in Decatur. And Sheriff Dick said McIntyre was an Army veteran who had served in Iraq and had been with the department again for 12 years. And that's what is part of the reason that this is so tough. It is a hard pill to swallow. Sheriff Dix noted that because he was a combat veteran and did come home to serve his community, to make the community safer, and ended up losing his life for it, he said it was stunning. Now, several law enforcement agencies and public figures have been offering their condolences online as well. Governor Brian Kemp asked for Georgia citizens to pray for the deputy's loved ones. He said in a tweet that his wife and his children and Governor Kemp all ask that Georgians join them in praying for the loved ones of this fallen hero, Deputy Sergeant Marc McIntyre. Governor Kemp went on to say that his thoughts remain with his family and fellow law enforcement officers following this tragedy. In a Facebook post, Spalding County State Court Judge Josh Thacker said that this was an unspeakably sad day in the county. He wrote that Sergeant McIntyre was a military veteran, a leader in the Spalding County Sheriff's Office, and a mentor to the next generation of law enforcement officers. Josh Thacker went on to say he is saddened beyond words that we have to add another name to the SO's End of Watch monument. So Fulton County, Spalding County, Jackson County, Banks County, Henry County, they're just a few law enforcement agencies who also offered condolences and prayers acknowledging how tough this situation is for the entire Spalding County Sheriff's Department. And again, you're looking live right now at what it looks like from the air and what it looks like from the ground as this procession goes on and has been for the last 19 or so minutes. We are, of course, going to check in with our reporters who are out there as well. They're talking with people who may be on the street right now, and they've been doing some digging into how you can pay your respects via donation or just via any of these community ways that have popped up of people trying to just make life a little bit easier right now for this fallen deputy's family. And as we see all of these cars going down the procession, you can imagine how they feel. On any given day, this could happen to them. They know that is a sacrifice that they're making just to make their community safer. Again, you just don't expect to lose one of your fellow brothers in blue. And when it happens, it's a really tough day. It's a tough day. So again, we do know that the suspect in the case is in jail right now in Spalding County Jail. He was arrested the same day the incident happened after an hours-long standoff. So at least the family and the community may feel a sense of justice as that case makes its way through the courts. But again, this is an aerial look, and you can see just how large of an area this is encompassing of cars in this procession. As we zoom in closer, you can also see people standing on the street. Again, they've brought their own American flags to honor him, and they're just standing there watching the procession go by. They've stood there for 20 minutes now, and it's worth it. This is worth it for them to stand there and acknowledge, hey, this was a person, this was a man, this was someone in our community who went out every day trying to help and serve and protect people who was killed for it. So we are going to stream the service too at 1 p.m. And of course, we're going to have coverage at noon on Atlanta News First, our noon show, because we want to make sure that you guys can see and be a part of this, even if you do have to stay at home as well. So right now you're looking at just a piece of this procession. It stretches on for miles, hundreds and hundreds of cars, law enforcement vehicles, I should say, from across the state have joined in on this. And looks like those are motorcycles that you can see there. But again, every law enforcement vehicle that you can think of is in this procession right now. They're from all around the state. And we want to show you a photo of Sergeant Marc McIntyre as well, so you know exactly who we're talking about. Again, he is a 12-year veteran with the Sheriff's Department there in Spalding County, and of course a veteran as well for us in our country. So we also want to show you a pretty cool sight here with fire trucks holding up a massive, massive American flag. This is the church there. that the services will be in. This is Griffin First Assembly of God, and you can see people are lined up there as well. This gentleman here looks to have put on his uniform and is standing there with his loved one, and they're just paying respects. This is what today is about. And they should be pulling up any moment now. Again, they've come from the Atlanta Motor Speedway, so they had quite the trek, and there are, again, a lot of cars that are heading there as well to pay their respects. And we've got a line here. Oh, you can see here on your screen, Griffin First Assembly of God has in remembrance of Sergeant Marc McIntyre. And again, if you'd like to go, you can do that. The services are open to the public, and we want to show you a photo of Sergeant McIntyre as well, just so you know exactly who we're talking about here. Here he is on your screen. 12-year veteran with the Spalding County Sheriff's Department. Lost his life December 29th while responding to a domestic call days before the new year. Again, visitation is at 10:30. It will continue until this time of service if you'd like to get out there. And we're going to leave you with these views, these aerial views, and this view of Sergeant McIntyre. And we'll be back in a moment. You are looking live at the procession for fallen Spalding County Deputy Marc McIntyre. He was a sergeant who tragically lost his life in the line of duty on December 29th, which was last Friday, just 1 week ago. So you are now seeing the procession who's gone from Atlanta Motor Speedway there in Hampton here to the Griffin First Assembly of God. They're pulling in right now. You can see there are fire trucks that have put a large American flag as they pull in, and American flags lining the road as they do pull into the church. Now we are going to have this streaming for you anywhere you stream: Roku TV, Fire TV, Apple TV, YouTube, anywhere you stream, you'll be able to watch this procession and you'll be able to watch the services. We're going to stream that when that gets started at 1 o'clock. But again, this is the view here from the church as hundreds of law enforcement vehicles pull into the church there to say their final goodbyes to fallen Sergeant Marc McIntyre. Visitation started at 10:30. That is going to continue until the service starts at 1 p.m. Again, right there at the Griffin First Assembly of God. You can go to this. It is open to the public. It will continue until the honors are bestowed and the final call, and then attendees will be dismissed from the church. If you'd like to support Sergeant McIntyre and his family, we have details on how to do that on our website at AtlantaNewsFirst.com. You can also see that on our Atlanta News First app, which is free for you to download in your app store. As we look live at the church, as officers are now pulling up, we are going to continue this coverage on Atlanta News First at noon. So make sure you tune into that coverage. We'll have live reports as well. Until then, we're going to leave you with this shot here of the procession.